Hello, welcome to this episode of Story and Things. We are a bookish podcast. I am your host, Cheli.
And I'm your host, Yajaira.
And welcome to season 3 of Story and Things.
Oh my god, happy spooky season, everyone.
Yeah.
It's PSL time.
Wait. It's about to pass a minute. Pussy slay coffee time, right? Pussy slay latte.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She saw that on a TikTok, in case you don't know.
It's pumpkin spice latte season. It is spooky season. Happy October. Oh my gosh.
Are you excited?
I am. Oh, we came up with this idea. It was more you. Came up with this idea that in October we should be reading spooky books.
Mm-hmm. Or, I don't know. I was kind of hoping that we would have done horror, but we did more mysteries.
Yeah, I'm a little sad about that.
Yeah.
But I will say, it is nice to sometimes step away from romance.
Well, can't believe you said that.
I think that I will definitely be picking up more books out of different genres now that we've done this. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited. We are going to start our season strong.
Yeah, with one story that is very popular on Booktok, The Silent Patient by
Alex M. I cannot pronounce the last name.
Michaelides.
Michaelides. I would pronounce it in Spanish.
Michaelides. Something like that.
Alex M.
Yeah. So, before we start discussing this story, why don't we talk about something that has been happening on Booktok?
Or lack thereof, not happening on Booktok, because I would like to bring up, I feel like Booktok is kind of dying.
A little bit, yeah. It makes me a little sad because I love seeing people's reviews of stories. Yeah. And obviously TikTok, it's much quicker. You know, it's a quick 3 minutes maybe. Watch of someone talking about books, and I loved that. I hope that it comes back. Please, everyone, go on TikTok.
We need to be part of the movement of it coming back, but it's so tough out there. Oh man, I really hope that it doesn't die, because where else am I supposed to post all of my 400 Den of Vipers TikToks?
Oh, Den of Vipers and not Dragon's Bride? Weird.
And no, it's even 400.
You have a lot of time on your hands.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and start by saying a spoiler-free summary of The Silent Patient, because we are going to spoil it throughout this entire episode. So why don't you go ahead and give us a spoiler-free version?
Okay, so it's about a psychotherapist named Theo, and he is trying to uncover the mystery behind Alicia, who murdered her husband. And he's just trying to figure it out. But unfortunately, ever since that happened, Alicia is not talking. She refuses to speak. And so the story is about him trying to figure out what happened that night. Because for some reason, he's like, did she do it? I don't know. Let's find out. That's what The Silent Patient is about. So I would definitely recommend this if you love mysteries, a little bit of a thriller. Yeah. If you like stories with plot twists, I would recommend this one.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to try to guess how you feel about this book. I feel like for some reason, if it's not romance, it's kind of hard for me to know if you like it or not.
Oh, that's weird.
Only because, like, I don't know what else. Like, I haven't talked to you about other stories that aren't romance stories. So this is very new to me. I think you liked it, but I don't know how you feel about the ending.
Okay.
So I'm gonna middle ground it and say that you gave it a 3 out of 5 because you like where the story was going, and I think you appreciated all the characters. Hopefully I'm right. I think I'm right. Right.
All of the characters, all 3 of them?
Yeah, all 3 of the... There was more Okay.
I do want to say that it's been a minute since I read this book, so I don't remember everyone's names. Sorry.
I remember everyone's names, so we're good.
Because you just read it last night.
I read it while you were setting up the camera. I read the whole thing. I read it like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your guess was 4 out of 5?
Yes. No, 3 out of 5. Middle ground.
Middle ground. Okay. Because of the ending.
Yes.
Remember, plot twist. Okay, so for me, let me look at you.
No.
Beautiful. Why are you looking away from me? The thing is that I just never know how you feel about anything. So I am going to guess that even though the ending is the way that it is, because I don't know if you love it either. I don't know. I think you generally liked the story because it was a nice little break from all of the smut we've been consuming on this podcast. I think you would give it a 3.8, a 4, 3.9, a 4. I'm going to say a 4.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's a the thing is that I don't want to waste our time with the details. I kind of want to do this episode a little bit differently.
Okay, and I'm down for that.
I kind of just want us to go through Theo's character while also tying in with Alicia's, but like getting to the end. Because I want us to like talk about certain moments.
I like that. So we're going to specifically focus on Theo's line.
Theo's journey in this story. So why don't you go ahead and start?
Wait. Little side note. Just wanted to say this. It is not a horror book.
No.
But last night when you fell asleep and I was the only one awake, I did start thinking about this book and got a little spooked.
Really?
I got very spooked, actually.
I will say this.
I sang to myself last night.
You did? Oh,
yeah,
cute.
Before I passed out. Thank you.
There is something very unsettling about this book, so.
Okay. Can you tell me when we get to the part that made you unsettled?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Theo's character.
Yes.
So since you read this more recently, can you go ahead and start it and just... How was Theo's character introduced to us?
So Theo is a psychotherapist who has always had this fixation with the murder case of Alicia Berenson killing her husband, Gabe Berenson. Mm-hmm. And at first it kind of just seemed like he was a fan. Mm-hmm. So he like knows so much about it. He even visited her gallery to see the last thing she painted after the death of Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just more so he's thinking about it, but not really engaging with anything else. Except he kind of is, because he actually applies to work at the Grove, which is a mental asylum.
Mm-hmm. It's like a mental hospital.
And he gets the job.
Yeah,
good for him.
Because he's so charming, apparently.
But he actually did this with the knowledge of knowing that Alicia is there.
Yeah.
So he goes and immediately talks to the boss and is like, who's in charge of Alicia? And the boss is like, actually, and he's like, shut up. I am, bitch.
Me.
Look at me. My name's Theo and I'm in charge now. Mm-hmm. And
because he's convinced that if anyone can get her to talk, because remember, she's been silent since the murder, he thinks that he can do it. He thinks he can get her to tell her story.
And I don't remember this clearly, but hopefully you do. I think that Diomedes, which is the guy in charge of the whole thing, he was really down for Theo to do this because he's like, I see a little bit of me in you. Yeah. And I think that you're going to be able to crack this one.
Yeah, because remember, he was just starting this job and
Diomedes?
Diomedes saw him and he was like, oh, you've got a lot of spirit. I like that. You are passionate.
I really like how Theo was introduced too, because when he introduces himself to like everyone, the patients and the other psychiatrists and psychotherapists and people who work there,
staff, yeah,
there's a moment where one of the patients does something and is like, I'm not going to sit down. I don't trust you. And it's like, you know what, everyone, what is trust? I'm Theo, and we're about to break this shit. And, you know, and it's like, whoa, he's really good.
Yeah, and the thing about Theo is that he comes off as a really nice guy. Yeah. Like, easy to just talk to, and you can tell that he really cares about this case.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was a very good introduction to his character. He continues, or this continues, and we finally see him meet Alicia for the first time. And he is so excited.
Yeah.
But
this is like low-key an idol.
I know.
Kind of weird.
I know you don't talk, but there is a paper and pen there if you would sign that really quick.
I also know sign language. Maybe you do too. I don't know.
If we put pens on the edges of your fingers and you sign it, whatever you put on paper, maybe I'll keep, maybe?
Maybe. I know you're an artist.
Know.
You haven't drawn anything, but...
My gosh, the first time they meet, it is... I really like Theo's approach because he used to have a therapist.
Yeah.
He mentions a lot that, you know, to be in this profession, you kind of also have to be crazy.
Yeah.
And
because you have to understand them.
And he's went through a lot. He had a very tough childhood, but his therapist, Ruth, basically her approach is that your emotions are going to mirror each other. So if your patient is feeling a certain emotion, you should mirror it. So the first time they meet, he doesn't even speak. He introduces himself, but he stays silent in order to mirror how Alicia is acting.
Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting. Did you expect her to talk anytime soon? Not necessarily this first meeting, but like quickly?
No. I did not expect her to talk at all.
I thought that maybe she would have done something nonverbal, like cues or something. But no.
I think the way that it was handled was really good because the pacing of this story made it feel very realistic because the reason she's not talking is because the medicine they have her on is like enough to like tranquilize a horse.
Yeah. And he finds this out.
Yeah. And he is so angry because it happens to be that bitch that used to work with him at the other freaking psychotherapist place, Christian. First of all, Christian, dumb name. Sorry, Christians. But
What's wrong with Christian?
Well, specifically this Christian, he's kind of a little bitch, if you don't mind me saying.
I don't mind you saying that because I kind of agree. So when Theo finds this out, he's like, how do you expect me to work like this if she is drugged up? And
specifically, he's saying this to Diomedes because he doesn't want to cause any, you know, more hostility between him and Christian. So Diomedes is like, you know what? I see your point. I will talk to Christian. And then Christian over here, bitch ass, comes like, you know what? Theo, I've been thinking because, you know, my brain is so big. Maybe we should lower the dosage of our medicine.
Oh my God.
And it's like, oh, Christian, did you come up with that one yourself?
Yeah,
Christian.
Was that you?
How long have you been working here? And that just like popped in your brain? Bitch. I was so angry at that point. It took me a while to like realize that he was just being a stupid ass. But, you know, okay, that's all good. Theo goes in, the dosage is lower, and he sees a little bit more life in her eyes.
Yeah, because she was not even there.
She was
not even
out
there.
of it. But
when this happens, she attacks him, doesn't she?
She attacks him because he does mention... Like, he's trying...
He brings up the husband.
Yeah, so he's trying to, like, talk to her. And she is reacting. Like, she's looking at him. She'll look away at some point. And that kind of helps him gauge, like, okay, that was a bad question.
Like, the direction of, like, his questions. Yeah, and then he also does... I don't know if I really loved it, but he was kind of like, did you hate your husband? Is that why you hate it? You did it?
And that's what makes her lose it. And
she hella attacks him.
Yeah.
She just jumps on him, and luckily, like, there was someone nearby and that pulled her away.
Yeah, Yuri was right outside. So, and he had his little alarm thing. So he clicked the alarm thing and they came to help him. And I hate it because as soon as they helped him and like the staff is there and they're in the medical ward, Christian is there and he's like, I told you, Diomedes, that we should not have messed with the dosage. And over here, Theo's like, I thought it was you who said we should lower the dosage. Pretty funny how the stories don't line up. But, oh God, so irritating.
And what exactly was Christian's job?
He's just the medical guy for Alicia. So he does that, but really nothing else.
Yeah, he's just there. He's just the guy who's there. He's annoying.
So while this is happening, we are also learning a little bit about Theo's life at home. And he is married to the love of his life, Kathy. First of all.
Well, kind of. We know that he's not really with her anymore because he kind of mentions it like, I hope no one asks me about Kathy. So you kind of already know that they're not really together anymore.
Oh, I never noticed.
Yeah, he literally, this isn't his point of view, by the way. So anytime he would like be in a social gathering, he'd kind of be like, "Oh, I hope no one asks me about my wife." But then verbally, he would say,
I'm
"Yeah,
gonna
I'm
go see my
married.
wife."
Yeah, I'm married."
But okay, I
My
was a
girl,
little
Kathy?
confused. I was a little confused because there was a point where he talked to Yuri and was like, I'm going to go hang out with my wife. And then it immediately cuts to a scene where he actually goes to hang out with his wife.
Yeah,
but it makes sense.
It's
That
a
is
flashback.
in the past.
Okay, so I just want to get through the story a little bit faster. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the flashbacks, which we don't know
Our
exactly.
flashbacks?
Yeah. So he has a wife named Kathy, and they're vibing, they're chilling, they love each other. He loves her a lot, but he starts to kind of notice like, Kathy, where is she at 5 to 8 p.m.? Like, she should be home right now.
Yeah, come on.
But over time, oh, and also Kathy was one of those people who would constantly hang out with her friends. Like, she'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go to a restaurant with Becky. Don't ask any questions. But then I don't remember exactly why he started becoming suspicious. Oh, it was a text, huh? He saw a text on her phone.
No, well, she was gone, and he took that chance to smoke some weed. Love that for him. And he ended up, I think he fell and touched her computer, and it happened to be open, and she saw emails.
Oh my God, yeah. And they were very sexual. Like, she was sexting someone, and it was very much like, oh, babe, I'll see you later tonight. So it wasn't even just sexting. Like, he knew, oh, she's sleeping with someone else. But the thing is that he loved her so much that he was like, maybe I was so high I imagined it. Like, there's no way Kathy would do that to me.
And it sucks because when he started to realize that it was more true, he went to go see his therapist. And his therapist basically said, hey, you shouldn't stick with someone like that. You're so much better than that. You need to get out of that relationship. And he was set to get out of the relationship, but then he realized, like, I can't do it.
No, he would have rather just stuck through it. He was like, you know what, even if she's cheating, well, I love her. So as long as she stays with me, he was literally just going to accept this life. But I think once you notice something, you kind of become addicted to keep like pushing it, right?
Yes.
That's kind of what happened with him. So he would like look through her phone. He started following her. Then he found her cheating in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
She was straight up having sex in the woods with some guy. And
which I don't know how close he was, but the book made it sound like he was super close.
Yeah, it made it sound like he was literally right there with them.
Oh, God.
Watching. But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit of a backstory of what happened between him and Kathy.
So back to present time, he is doing pretty well with Alicia. They are, he's going there often, but he's not getting the results he wants. So,
Oh, and he's also on a time crunch.
yeah, he is on a time crunch because the Grove is actually close to being closed down. So he made this bet with Diomedes that he would be able to get Alicia to speak. And if they can, then that would cause enough publicity to keep that place open. So he does something he's not supposed to and reaches out to family members and friends that knew Alicia. And one of the first ones that he meets is Max Berenson, which is Gabe Berenson's older brother. And he's kind of a bitch.
Kind of?
He's a bitch.
He's a big one.
Just to move it ahead, we do figure out, because this story is written in a way where we can also see Alicia's diary entries. He was so disgusting.
Yeah, he was.
He sexually assaulted her and tried to take advantage of her, and it was disgusting, and she hated him, but she couldn't say anything to Gabriel, her husband, because, you know, he wasn't going to believe her.
Yeah.
So it was just something she had to live with. And when it comes to Theo talking to Max at first was very like showing his lawyer face, like, yeah, I loved Alicia.
Alicia, we go way back.
And Theo was like, bitch, be real. how do you really feel? And he's like, I hate her. I hate her so much. She took my brother.
Yeah.
And he even like broke character for a bit and like cried and then was like, okay, I'm better now.
Yeah.
You know? And it was sad, but it was interesting to see because now it's like, okay, that was a little sus. Why are we acting like that? But okay, that was Max Berenson. Then we're introduced to Paul, who is Alicia's cousin. Alicia's cousin and closest friend in a way. I love Paul so
I
much.
definitely felt for Paul. I felt really bad for him.
Yeah, he's just a big guy who doesn't really get to have a chance at living because he has to stay home and take care of his mom. And it sucks, but he was one of the closest to Alicia and actually was there when she experienced one of the most traumatic things in her life, which after a car accident that she was in where her mom was killed, she was on the roof with Paul where they saw her dad from the roof, like they were looking down. They saw him say, you know, it should have been Alicia, not her. And as a child, Alicia looks at Paul and says, my dad just killed me.
Yeah.
He just killed me, which is like super traumatic. So I do feel for Paul. I think his connection or like his addition to her story was like very, very big compared to everyone else. Our last person is Jean-Pierre.
Deimos?
No.
Yeah, Pierre.
Jean-Pierre, right? Jean-Pierre was the person who's in charge of Alicia's art gallery. And he loved everything Alicia created. Didn't really care about her though. He was kind of like a toxic friend.
Yeah.
He basically what he added to the story was what pushed the story ahead, which was telling Theo, let her talk by painting. So they get her art supplies. Theo sets it up with the crew. They get him a room and they let her paint. And it works really well. And it's cute. It's kind of cute. Little section that was cute was when he had brought it up and Alicia smiled because it's like, hell yeah.
Yeah. And remember,
Give me them
she's
brushes.
not as drugged up anymore. So, you know, she's more aware of what's happening.
There is her first painting that she draws is of her and Theo. And Theo is holding her kind of like bridal style, I think.
Yeah.
And it is over flames. And the way Theo brings it up is, I'm not sure if she drew me with me throwing her in or me trying to
like
protect
save her.
her. So it was an interesting thing to bring up.
Yeah. I mean, he is a psychotherapist. He's like looking at that and he sees a million things.
Yeah. Okay. So because of an incident that happened with Alicia attacking someone, they are going to cut her off completely with painting. They're going to put her back on her medication and they don't want Theo seeing her anymore. And so he is like, I'm going to give you one last chance. You need to say something. Like, you need to tell me how to help you because we're running out of chances. And she gives him her diary. And in this diary, he basically figures out that there was a man that broke into her house. And it was, I think, the week before the murder. And so now he's like, okay, this is getting interesting.
And the thing about Alicia that I think we find out because of the diary is that she would constantly see a man kind of lurking around.
Yeah.
But no one believed her.
Yes.
Her husband didn't believe her. Even her therapist didn't believe her. And so I think, was she given medication at this point?
She was given medication, but it did say that she didn't take it. Like, she would put it in her mouth, but she would spit it out.
Spit it out because her husband wanted to be there with her when she would put it in her mouth.
Yes.
He was like, I don't believe that you're taking it.
Yep. So that happened to be the man that was standing outside the window in her final diary entry.
Yeah.
And I think the diary entry, if I remember correctly, ends with like, oh my gosh, I just saw him. Oh my gosh, I hear someone. He's inside.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. So, you know, all this is going to shit. He's not able to see her anymore. And he's like, you need to talk. You need to talk. And she just whispers like an, okay, I'm down. You know, And then he's so excited. He goes to Diomedes. He's like, I did it, Dad. I mean, Diomedes.
Wait, whoa, this is awkward.
Do you want to maybe go play catch? I mean,
Wait,
smoke? Oh,
Dad,
this is...
don't make it weird.
I know. Okay, son. I mean, Theo. It's like both ways.
It's so funny because the way you make it sound is like she said one word and he's like busted out of the room.
Yeah.
Didn't even let her say anything else. He was like, okay, that's enough.
That's it. Closes it up. And
closing
everything.
this case right now.
So I like the way that chapter ends because it's like the next time we met, she didn't even shut up. She kept talking. And she said everything, but you're not going to believe what happens next.
But the
it's like, okay, thanks for clickbaiting me, Theo.
It's almost like gossipy.
Yeah.
And the thing that I liked about this moment when we're going to talk about right now, where they're discussing what happened that night, is that she's saying all of these things, but Theo's like, she's lying. I don't believe her. She's lying to me right now. Why is it that she was silent this whole time and now she finally speaks and she's lying to me?
Because in her story, there was a man who broke into the house and basically told her that she was going to be tied up and that she had to sit there until Gabe got home. And when he got home, the masked man said, you're not allowed to speak. If you speak, I will shoot him in the head. And she didn't say anything. And he was literally looking at her because she was in a chair, not facing him. And he was like, babe, why are you looking at the wall like that? It's not Tuesday. Look at the wall day. But like, he was trying to converse with her, but then...
The husband.
Yeah. But then the masked man shoots Gabe 6 times.
Yeah.
And this is what...
That's her version of the story.
Yeah, this is what she had said. And, good job. Thank you, Alicia. Love you. See you next week. Theo goes back and he describes his feeling as just pure anger because he knows for a fact that she's lying.
Because it doesn't correlate with the way that she was found.
Because she also mentions that all 6 shots were fired at the husband when there was actually 1 shot that was fired at the ceiling. So it was like, why didn't she say anything about that?
Did she forget?
And he does mention it to Diomedes, and Diomedes does say, like, yep, she's lying. She's
Go
manipulating
back in there,
you.
Tiger.
Yeah.
You got this.
Go. You can. Thanks, Dad. I'm not even going to correct myself. It's okay, son. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, that's actually what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, I was going to say fun fact. Kind of a fun fact. In her diary, she did mention that she was being seen by a doctor who happened to be Christian.
Oh, yeah. We find out that Christian was her doctor.
Very, it's a coincidence.
But when Theo sees this, he's like, that's why he was drugging her up. Suspicious. He knows her.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason Theo is angry is because he knows that it doesn't add up. He knows it. And it's brought up in a really, really cool way because we're back in the past times, which when I was reading this book, I thought it was just the present times, which is him dealing with, knowing that Kathy is cheating. And he starts following the person that Kathy
cheated with.
Yeah, so the guy.
The home wrecker.
Yes. So, but then he's also wrecking his own home because this guy also has a wife.
He's married.
Yeah.
That bitch.
So then Theo's like, okay, I need to let the wife know.
Theo starts feeling a connection with the wife because he's like, look at us. We are both being played.
A couple of cards.
We think that we love them. We think they love us. But they're actually just fucking each other.
So he gets really, really angry. And he keeps telling himself, I'm not a killer. I wouldn't kill this guy.
I'm not even crazy or anything. It's just like, I need to tell her that he's cheating on her.
But I want to help. So when he breaks into the house of the guy who Kathy is having an affair with, I love that the sentence is just, and this is the first time that I met Alicia Berenson. And I literally closed the book and was like, oh my God, what? What do you mean you barely met her? You met her at work at your 9 to 5.
You didn't know that this was where it was going?
No. Dude, when I tell you I have one brain cell, I'm not lying. I can't connect shit for shit. Ugh, I was shook. How did you feel?
Well, don't get me wrong. I was shocked that this is where it was going because I was expecting something completely different. But when that line happened, I was like, oh my God, wait, this makes sense. Mm-hmm. This makes a lot of sense.
It did make a lot of sense.
This is why he's so obsessed with the case, because he has a connection to it. So near the end, their last conversation together between Alicia and Theo, they're kind of going through what happened, and he tells her, I know you're lying. I need you to tell me the truth. What happened that night? And so she starts going through it, and I can't remember exactly if she is the one who tells the story as it is or if he's the one who supplies the actual truth. Mm-hmm. But what we find out is that he broke into her house, told her everything, told her, yeah, that bitch cheating on you.
Oh, you're right.
A lying bitch.
And I'm going to prove it to you. And so Gabe comes home.
And he's like, and I can prove to you that he doesn't even love you. And so Gabe arrives. And I believe it's one of those moments where he's like, oh, I can either shoot her or shoot you. Who would you prefer, Gabe? And he's like, I'm sorry, Alicia, I love you, but not that much.
But it sucks because it's very intense because Gabe is like, you can't do this, you can't do this. Like, he doesn't say, don't kill her. He says, you can't do this.
Yeah. So
while Theo is counting down.
But she is also out of Gabe's line of vision. Yeah. So he can't see her. Mm-hmm. But, they're both probably crying at this moment.
Yes. And so when he reaches 1, Gabe says, I don't want to die. And he says it in such a hushed tone, but you can hear it.
But okay, do we blame him? He's scared.
He's scared.
He has Theo has a gun. And so he pretends to shoot Alicia.
But shoots the ceiling instead.
Shoots the ceiling. And obviously Alicia heard her husband say, I don't want to die, which means, oh, so you want me to die?
So then Theo is kind of like,
you see?
Proved it. Here's the gun. I'm going to go.
I think my work here is done. I'm going to go.
So Gabe comes up to Alicia and is like, oh my God, you're okay.
Yeah, he was really relieved about it. Yeah. He was crying, but she was hollow.
Yeah, because she could not believe that he had done that. Mm-hmm. And from that point, she didn't speak anymore. And I like the way that it's mentioned because it does say, I was already dead because he did kill me by saying that.
Yeah, so her dad killed her and then her husband killed her too.
So, all that's happening is I'm holding and pulling the trigger, but he was the one who killed me.
Yeah.
So she's admitting to doing the 5 shots to the head, but she's taking it more as
I'm already dead.
So this doesn't count.
Yeah, because I'm dead.
And all the lawyers are like, oh, okay.
Well,
she's right.
Acquitted, am I right? Yeah. And the thing is that obviously Theo supplied the weapon, but as he's telling her this, or however it's revealed, Theo's like, well, I didn't know she was gonna kill him. I didn't know that she was gonna shoot him 5 times.
So then what Theo ends up doing is to make sure that the story doesn't get told, he gives her morphine and drugs her up, but makes it look as if she was going to try to commit suicide. And he does this with the little or with the aid of that evidence he had against Christian, because it's like, oh, Christian, by the way, Diomedes, Christian was one of her doctors. He didn't want that to get out. What if he did it?
So he's been overdoing the drugs. Obviously, he probably did this to her. So.
And there's a diary, and there was a man in her diary entry following her. That has to be Christian.
It has to be. I'm connecting the dots, Dad.
Diomedes. It's like, yes, son. Son.
Whoa.
Just can't say anything else. Son. It's like, yeah, of course, Diomedes.
Right.
But
our girl Alicia is literally she's comatose now.
Yeah,
because she was given way too much drugs.
And, everything looks like it's going up for Theo. But when he goes to her room, he can't find the diary anywhere. But then he's like, you know what? Who cares? Well, we're still gonna, arrest Christian.
We are still gonna win.
Yeah, we're still gonna win.
Right.
So he goes home and Kathy's there and she does not look like what she did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
She is like gained weight. She's sad. She doesn't go out anymore. She just watches TV and sits there. And Theo does this thing where he's like, "Hi, Kathy. You didn't ask me about work, but I just worked with Alicia Berenson. You know, the one that killed Gabriel Berenson."
Oh, why are you flinching? Does that name mean anything to you? No.
Okay, love you, babe.
Love you. Okay, so we learned that Kathy went into a depression after
Yes.
he was killed.
So Theo is over here, I don't know what he's doing. He's probably about to have dinner. But there's a knock at the door. Mm-hmm. And it is an officer who's like, "Hey, I happen to be in town and I remembered I needed to talk to you. Can I speak to you alone?" And they tell Kathy to go upstairs, which she does reluctantly. Mm-hmm. And this man basically says, "Hey, we found a diary lodged between a picture of you and Alicia that
weird.
It admits everything. So let's have maybe a little talk.
Maybe we should go down to the station. I don't know.
And it ends with just Theo looking out the window and he's like trying to catch snowflakes.
Yeah.
Which I don't get that part, but
I think it was mentioned earlier somewhere, probably.
Okay.
He's just like, it's probably, just a moment where he's like, "Wow, look at these snowflakes. Okay, I gotta go to the police station."
Yeah. And that's how the story ends.
Yeah. So the silent patient is permanently silent now. Is she gonna die? I'm a little confused about that, but
I don't think she's going to. But I think she's in like a critical condition.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna take a while to bring her back.
If she even comes back.
By the way, can I just say, when I finished this book, I closed it and I looked at the cover and realized it was a face.
You didn't know it was a face?
I never knew it was a face. I just thought it was a canvas.
But there's lips.
I didn't see that before. So
an eye.
I didn't see it before. I just read it.
I just want to explain the ending a little bit. So what we gather is that Theo went in to drug our girl Alicia, but she had enough time to write on her diary.
She did it when he left. He probably went to go get the morphine because...
Yeah, but you don't have that much time.
Well, don't you remember her writing? They described it as like everywhere. And the thing that she had written was like, "I don't have enough time. I don't have much time. Theo just left, but..." And then like wrote whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it was probably really like jumbled and probably not full sentences, but I think she did that. And she was in the art room and just jammed it in the frame.
Yeah. If it's so jumbled though, who's going to believe her? I don't know. I feel like if your thoughts are everywhere, I'd be like, it's the
Well, they just said they were going to take him to the... They were going to take him to the station. They didn't say that he was arrested.
They didn't say, "Hey, we know you did it. Okay, I know where you were last summer."
Yeah. I was with my dad. Dad immediately. Yeah, he was. He's everyone's dad.
Okay, so... I don't know where you want to start. There's just so much we can talk about. We've been talking for a minute now.
I know.
So why don't we just get to like the end? How did you feel about the plot twist?
Okay. Well, actually, I want to start from the beginning a little bit. A little bit. I just want to say that I think this book did a good job letting me like Theo. Because I really, really liked Theo throughout this entire story. And I really liked Alicia and wanted to believe her. Mm-hmm. But then I like how this book had little parts where it was like part 1, part 2, part 3. Mm-hmm. And it had little quotes.
Yeah.
Because there was one quote that it had something to do with like, people can't keep lies. Mm-hmm. Like even if their mouths are closed, you'll see their fingers twitching. And it always mentioned that Alicia was always twitching. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck. She's I can't believe her. Like, I can't believe what she says. Mm-hmm. So even with the whole man that was following her, I was like, she's making this shit up. She has to be making this shit up.
You thought it was a lie?
And when Theo mentioned like, yeah, it's a lie, I was so pro Theo that I was like, oh my God, this bitch really did it. She's just manipulating everyone. Because I don't know if you remember, every character in the story kept saying, borderlines, are manipulative. So she's kind of seducing you.
Yeah.
But in reality, we were being seduced by Theo.
So kind of rude.
We experienced it, not him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really clever for
Yeah.
like, you know, them to do that.
Yeah, because I was really seduced. I also really liked Theo's character. I was like, you know what? Theo, I love that he's so complex. I love that he's, you know, he admitted that psychotherapist, you kind of have to go through your own thing in order to be able to relate to your patients. And that whole thing with Kathy, I was like, Kathy?
I know.
My girl?
I was shook.
I was so sad for him.
So when it got to the end with, you know, you figuring out that he was there and what he had done in that situation, I felt bad, but then I was like, okay, he's a bad guy. I can't. Well, he's not a bad guy. He's a man who was in a situation, and because he was mentally unstable, he reacted.
Don't think he was a bad guy?
He reacted in a way that he justified it. So he did a bad thing.
The thing about Theo is that he, even at the end, he was still like, I'm not a killer, though. I'm not a bad person. Yeah, he drugs her up.
Yeah, no, he did bad things. And that does make him a bad person. But I do think that it's unfair that he, you know, didn't have the help that he needed. And I think he idolized Ruth. But she didn't do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
She should have, I guess, paid more attention.
Well, also he did distance himself from Ruth because she knew what Kathy was doing, and he felt kind of embarrassed, like, oh, I can't go back to her.
Yeah.
Because she's going to know that I never broke it off with her. And yeah, she's still cheating on me. I don't want to talk about it.
I just feel bad. Because the thing is, if you're saying that he's a bad guy.
He is a bad guy.
Then that makes
he is a bad guy. She's bad too.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
They're both bad.
They are, but they're both just like in shitty situations too.
I'm sorry, shitty. You did not have to shoot your husband.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For cheating?
No, I agree. You're making it. Why are you gaslighting me?
For cheating? I'm sorry.
No, I agree that they.
If he like attacked her, maybe.
Yeah, I agree that they both are bad people, but it just sucks. It sucks what led them there. Is like, it sucks how it got to that point. Because, God, it's just so... I just felt a certain way about Theo. And also Alicia, I loved her. And I think her situation, in my opinion, is more shitty than Theo's situation.
Because...
I just... The way that she wrote her diary entry, she was so, like... so mentally unwell.
Yeah.
And the way that she idolized Gabe was so weird. And I felt so bad for her. And she would write about him in a way that was like, I just like want to be like inside that man. I want everything about him. And if he's not in my life, then...
And what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it got to that end point, I was like, fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah. What did you think was going to happen? Like, where did you think the story was going?
I thought that Max was the killer. I thought he, like I said, my brain cells, they don't work. But I literally just thought it was like an act of jealousy. And he killed his own brother and was like, fuck, oh my God, it's her fault that I did that.
She made me do it.
Yeah.
She's very convincing.
That's what I thought. That was it.
I had no thoughts. I had no thoughts, just vibes. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't think it was going to go in the direction of Theo having something to do with it. But I wasn't surprised when it happened, though, because I did expect a plot twist. And I was like, Theo, oh my God, are you rereading it right now? And Theo was just a little too lovable, a little too perfect. There had to be something wrong with him. I did expect her to have done it, though.
Okay. Yeah, because it was the only logical explanation. I just wanted to mention, it's not really that great of a mention, but I thought it was pretty cool. The first time she started talking again, he cried. And he was like, tell me why you started talking again. She was like, you know the answer. Do I? It's because of you. Me, I look at her with surprise. Because you came here. And that made a difference. All the difference. It made all the difference. And it reminded me of that I was gonna say Jack Frost, not him. That Robert Frost poem about the paths that you take in your life.
Oh, yeah.
And how it makes all the difference depending on which path you take. They both didn't really choose that good of a path.
They both chose the wrong path.
Except Theo's choice of adopting a father, Dadimedes.
Whatever.
Dadimedes. Okay. No.
Stop.
Hello? You said Zaddy in the last episode.
No, I didn't. We cut it out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or maybe we won't. I don't know.
Wait. It's kind of funny because it's like, sorry for fighting with you. It's a weird cut.
This is a weird cut, but I feel like the camera was like, they need to stop fighting because it just fucking abruptly cut us off. We're just discussing.
They both are bad people. Listening back to that, they both are bad people. It's just, I feel for them a lot.
You feel for their situations.
I really do enjoy seeing a book that goes through the mind of people who did bad things, though. Like, it's interesting to see, like, how they got to that point.
I also feel for the characters. I really, really do. But my thing is that you didn't have to shoot him. Come on, 5 times. Dang, girl.
My
you
God,
were
she was
mad.
angry, but she was mentally unstable.
That's true. Also, Theo, you didn't have to supply a gun. Why would you do that?
Didn't.
She's obviously unstable. You're a psychotherapist. Hello?
Mm-hmm. You didn't think it was going to happen, though. My bad.
You're gonna leave a gun? What do you think?
You shoot someone's ceiling, and all of a sudden it's your fault. That was Theo's logic. Like, you shoot someone's ceiling and do, by the way, a good deed, and it's my fault.
No. And also the thing about Theo is he felt no remorse.
No.
For anything.
Nope.
Maybe a psychopath. I don't know. Kind of crazy.
No.
Do you feel like it's justifiably popular? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that, to go into my feelings about this book, I think that this is a pretty good intro to thriller if you have never read thriller books. It was an easy read. It was very interesting. I did read the ending of this at the laundromat. So, like, it was interesting because I was being watched by a little girl. So I got to the point where it was like, oh yeah, and I knew Alicia, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when I closed it. So I couldn't read the rest because I was like showing a lot of emotion. So I was like,
the little girl was like, damn.
No, yeah, at one point that little girl just looked at me and she like fist balled up just looking at me and just staring into my eyes, and I'm like, I get it. You want to know what's happening in the silent patient, but you can't read yet.
You're too little.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, you wouldn't understand anyway.
It was funny. But I did actually really like this book. I thought it was an easy read. I thought it was interesting. I thought the characters were very well developed, all of them that were mentioned. Love Diomedes. Love that man.
Yeah. I know how much you love dads.
Yeah, yes. I would give this, I think this is going to be my first 5 out of 5 for this season.
Wow.
Because I really, really like this book.
The first book, and you're going to give it a 5?
Yeah, it was good. She was pretty good. I liked it. Diomedes, 2022. Happy October.
Happy October, everyone. At first, I didn't know how I felt about it. Like, first read, I was so into it, loved Theo. Yeah. I even loved Alicia too, but like you, I definitely did not trust her. I was very apprehensive about her character. She just gave me weird vibes. And like you said, when she fidgeted a lot, I was like, she's lying about something. I feel like the type of story that this is would work better as a movie because we are literally in his point of view. So being in his point of view, I was like, if you know you're involved, why are you meeting with her family and friends? Why are you doing all of these things that don't make any sense to me? You're not actually trying to uncover the truth. You're trying to uncover what she actually knows, remembers, whatever. I think the motivation threw me off because it didn't make sense to me. Why are you doing all this if you know the truth? Had maybe he be a little bit more unstable and maybe there was a moment of, oh, this happened. I forgot that I was there. Or, oh, this happened. But I'm doing all of this because I'm trying to trick her. Like, just a moment of realization and actually, like, telling the reader, yeah, I know that I did it. But that doesn't matter. Like, I'm just doing it because I'm bored. Like, just something.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have loved it more. I don't know. But then again, I don't love unreliable narrators, so.
I know you don't.
I don't.
I think the reason he went out to talk to the family wasn't to figure out what had happened that night. It was to uncover the childhood trauma, because that was his thing. He was like, there always has to be a link on why they did it. So then him figuring out that there was childhood trauma is kind of like oh, so it was her fault. Okay. Whoa, that was me for a second there. It was hot in here. You know, that's what I thought.
He was like, was it me?
I know. Dad immediately is going to be angry at me.
I can't tell him the truth. Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I just still really wanted a moment of realization.
Yeah, and you know what? It would have hit a lot better as a film. You are right. Because that's what I thought reading this whole thing. I was like, this would be such a good movie.
And it would be a really good movie. I hope it gets turned into a movie. It would be really good. But even though I had that issue with the book, I still really enjoyed it. I loved the journey. I love thrillers. I used to read them more often when I was younger. I do love that we are doing thrillers this month.
Yes.
I would probably, even though I had that issue, love the characters, love the twist. Overall, loved it. Loved it more than hated it. I would still give it like a 4.5.
Higher than what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I said 3.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, a 4.5.
I'd give it a 4.5.
I love that. I love that for you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to ask you, what was the part that made you feel unsettled?
What made me really uncomfortable were the diary entries of her being stalked.
Me too. That was mine.
All of those moments, I was literally in the break room alone, and I was like, I'm scared right now.
That's like, that's a big fear of mine. That fucked me up so much. And the fact that no one believed her, and it got to her last diary entry where the guy came in, I was like, fuck. Because that's Theo coming in, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was? Oh my God.
The reason why no one believed her is because she's done this before, where she was so sure that someone was following her, and it had to do with her dad, right? Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's happened before, and so now everyone didn't believe her this time that it was happening currently, or whatever. But yeah, that is The Silent Patient by Alex.
Oh my gosh, we've been sitting here a while. That was a long one. I love this book so much. I'm glad that it's a 5 out of 5. I'm glad that it was our first book.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That was a good book. Thank you for everyone who watched the episode. If you are listening to us in podcast form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Audible apparently, or anywhere you get your podcasts on, if you can please leave a rating of 5 stars.
That would be so sweet. We would really appreciate it. And it would let us know that you are enjoying the content.
Yeah, and if you can tell your friends, family, loved ones, hated ones, frenemies, enemies, lovers, if you can tell any of them about our podcast, that would help, because the best way to get exposure is through word of mouth. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we post a new episode, that would be great. If you want to follow us on social media, we are trying to be more active on Instagram, TikTok, and we actually have a Goodreads, all under the handle @StoryandThings, StoryandThings. So we end these episodes with a dice roll. Basically, we roll a dice. If it lands on an even number, we read a positive review off of Goodreads. If it lands on an odd number, we read a negative review off of Goodreads.
Okay, so I'm going to roll a digital dice, okay? Look at it. I'm going to roll it. Ready? 1.
A negative comment off of Goodreads. Can I find it? Oh, no, you got it.
No,
okay, no, you had one. I saw it.
No, you can do it.
So
this comes from Goodreads. It is written by...
Wait, can I just say, we are not going to make a face. We are not going to say anything, not even acknowledge what this person said. because we don't want to endorse their review.
I won't. I don't know about you.
So this is a 1-star rating by Boris Feldman. Thank you, Boris. 1 out of 5, not silent enough. Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
I don't want to say anything about it, but that's hilarious. That gives the same vibes as like
The Luca one?
Yeah. I gave Luca a 1 out of 5 because I knew a guy named Luca and I fucking hated that guy. That's
I
so
love
good.
reviews that are unhinged. Remember the Batman one?
Which one was it?
Where he was like, it was kind of weird, to be honest. It was like, I love his emo pale ass, like something like that. I don't know. It was just unhinged.
Love it. I love it. Keep leaving comments like that. They're so funny.
I know. I'm very entertained by them.
Someone wrote, I'm sorry, JD gave it a 1 star. I can't even give this half a star. Absolute worst read of 2020s. Oh my gosh.
Damn. That's personal.